What's up, everybody? So today we will be talking about things that are in space currently that has been found by scientists. Now, they call them these things Dyson spheres. Now, we're going to be reacting to Nick Jones' video. I watch him plenty of times. We'll see what he says about it and what you guys think about like these things that's in space. Let's go.
And I'm assuming a majority of y'all believe in the Bible, right? NBC News posted this headline. They said they have a new study that finds potential alien megastructures known as Dyson spheres. And a lot of people with knowledge of the scriptures are reminded of the book of Ezekiel and also the book of Revelation. Now, let me play this video, and I want you to listen to the details of how they describe these quote-unquote Dyson spheres. And you let me know if you notice anything that sounds a little bit familiar, all right? Let's go.
A group of researchers say they've identified at least 7 stars that might be surrounded by super advanced alien megastructures known as Dyson spheres. Yes, I said alien structures, and I know what you're thinking, but just stay with me here, because the basic idea was this. Superior intelligent life might build big structures around their home stars or planets as a way to harness or reuse that energy. A 1960s physicist who came up with this idea, Freeman Dyson, argued that if these structures existed, there'd be so much energy that human scientists on Earth could probably spot it because it would emit a lot of infrared radiation. So in this new study, researchers say they found 7 sources glowing in the infrared, those are their words, but couldn't find an obvious explanation for why.
They said that they found 7 sources glowing in the infrared, but couldn't find an obvious explanation to what it was.
So I want y'all to keep in mind exactly the number 7, because 7 is going to be very important.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but 7 sources. Maybe it's just a coincidence. I don't know. Maybe it's just a coincidence. But 7 sources glowing in the infrared that you can't find an explanation for. That's a very specific number. And a lot of people were talking about the book of Revelation, which we're going to get in and open up in a second. But let's just finish this.
These sources are glowing so much, which could mean they're Dyson spheres or something else entirely. And what I'm saying is, what? Space is so crazy. I wish I understood it better. So let's talk to a scientist to help wrap our heads around this. I'm joined now by Professor Jana Levin. She is an astrophysicist and author of the book Black Hole Survival Guide, as well as the Claire Toh Professor of Physics and Astronomy at Barnard College of Columbia University. Professor, first of all, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I tried to explain it a little bit. That was my very dirty version. I was going to be like, yeah, but I'm an English major who just had Google. You have a PhD in physics from MIT. So how do you explain Dyson spheres?
I think that was an excellent explanation. If you look at where we are relative to the sun, we're very far away. We're the 3rd planet in. And imagine the light that we try to collect, let's say, with solar panels on people's homes or on any roofs to collect that energy. Imagine if you got really close and you caught everything the sun was emitting. It's just a tremendous amount of power. And so Freeman Dyson was thinking about this. Actually, he was originally inspired by sci-fi, written by Olaf Stapleton like decades earlier. And his idea wasn't so much a solid sphere. It was really like satellites in orbit, a network of things that would be orbiting and would essentially, what we would now say, have solar panels and are collecting that energy.
So what do you make of this study, just generally speaking, I guess? Do you think it's possible that these are the elusive Dyson spheres?
So I think it's very unlikely, but I'm open. We have to be open as scientists. If we think we know the answer before we go and observe, then we're already defeated. I think it's terribly unlikely, but it's extremely exciting and interesting to think about. And it's fun to think about. What's probably going to happen is we're going to look at this infrared signature that you mentioned, and we're going to find out that there's a natural cause. So a lot of things emit heat in the infrared. You know, infrared goggles allow us to see human bodies and the heat of human bodies. And it's not that dissimilar that when we look in the infrared, we see things emitting heat. So the idea was if we had this very technologically advanced civilization, like thousands of years beyond where we are right now, and they could build such a thing and it was collecting all this energy, it would collect also some heat and would have to cool off, and we would see that in the infrared. But there are other natural possibilities that could explain.
What do you think those possibly could be?
Well, it could be a very young star that still has some material around it in kind of a disk, and that's how planets form. Planets coalesce out of these early.
That one is actually really interesting that they just showed.
Wow.
So this one right here is very, very interesting. Because in the book of Ezekiel, he's describing this vision that he got of angels, and he said it's almost like a sphere inside of a sphere surrounded by eyes.
which I'm going to skip a little bit ahead into the video.
Tucker Carlson, he was talking about Nephilim and alien and that whole conversation. And he was pretty much saying that, you know, humans, we can get in the ballpark, but we're very bad when it comes to the details. And essentially he was using the analogy of, like, you know, if there's a crime that's committed, if somebody's trying to explain the suspect to detectives, like, we could get the general ideas, like, oh yeah, he was tall, he was, you know, whatever skin color, he was fat, he was had long hair, but the details is when it becomes kind of murky, right? So the fact that we have this representation that they're calling a Dyson sphere, or whatever they want to call it, right? It does resemble a biblical description of angels. It's just the details that are kind of murky, but the core elements are all there. So it's very, very interesting. And it's like, whenever there's discoveries like this and the media doesn't know how to describe it, it's like they instantly say, oh, it's aliens. It's like some advanced, you know, civilization, some advanced beings that have all this technology that are way more advanced than we are, and they know how to harness this power and harness this energy. It's like, y'all take it all the way there, but y'all can't even open up the Bible, which was written how many years ago?
That's true.
Way before all this other talk, right? Y'all can't even open up the Bible and just, you know, do a quick little reference, because it's all there. It's all there. It seems like all the craziness that we see going on in the world, you could trace it back to the Bible and you can figure out what it is.
That's definitely true.
But we don't want to believe it. We want to go to the PhDs. So we want to go to the PhD of astrology and the PhD of physics to try to help us understand what it is. But logically, the PhD who spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on an MIT education can't even explain what we're finding.
She's talking about it can be, hypothetically speaking, stop trying to rationalize it. Listen, the thing is in the Bible. Y'all just don't want to look up that. It's like things that support it with evidence and describes things in the Bible. Y'all like so quick to like denounce it and say, well, I don't believe in that, so it doesn't apply to me, it's not true. But if it's explaining something that's logically making sense in the real world, if it has some real world evidence, then you need to reevaluate your way of thinking and not be thinking with ambiguity.
It still has some material around it in kind of a disk, and that's how planets form. Planets coalesce out of these early disks, and those can emit in the infrared. It could be that there's actually an entire galaxy in the distance behind the star, and we're seeing that galaxy. We can't disambiguate those. Or it could be planetary collisions. I mean, there are natural explanations. But I think it's worth noting, we're looking just 1,000 light years around us. That sounds far, but it's actually really close. That's our backyard. The entire Milky Way galaxy is 100,000 light years across.
She said 1,000 light years. It sounds far, but it's actually really close. That's our backyard. So these Dyson spheres, quote unquote, right, are now approaching into our backyard. Said go to Revelation chapter 1 verse 20, and it says, verse 20, as for the mystery of the 7 stars that you saw in my right hand and the 7 golden lampstands, the 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 lampstands are the 7 churches. So it's interesting that they have identified specifically 7 of these quote unquote spheres.
Well, from that evidence right there, I can definitely testify and say I believe that those are 7 angels. But what I won't do is I won't be like those blind people Now, there is some misconceptions of the Word of God, the Bible itself, stating that it's not really accurate with some information, and it has been tampered with. I mean, of course everything's tampered with. We don't really have the complete truth, but being that this is a situation with Dyson spheres, and the word specifically saying that, oh, the mystery of those stars is actually this. Come on. The PhD MIT person couldn't explain it. She's like, hypothetically speaking, there's a natural clause. Of course it's a supernatural clause, man. She doesn't know what she's talking about. It's like you guys study your entire lives to this, but you still can't really tell us what is going on. And we have the word right here telling, oh, the mysteries of those stars is ba-da-ba-da-ba. You know what I'm saying? It says that, but science, and I'm not coming at atheists. Don't come at me. But atheists, come on, bro. The evidence is there, and the evidence says in the Word of God that those are angels. Like, you guys can't. Specifically 7, though. It could have been any other number that could have been floating in the air in space today that is drawing near in our backyard, 1,000 light years away. Specifically 7, it could have been 9, it could have been 10. There's so much numbers out there. Do you know that? So for it to only have specifically 7 spheres, exactly how it's said in the Bible, I think for real, it's irrefutable, undeniable at this point. What do you guys think? Let me know. Leave a comment, leave a like on the video, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.